This broadcast is a Stephen K. Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Cruz and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with Cruz and Hughes starts now.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, right here on Blog Talk Radio, where we broadcast Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're also on Ustream.tv. This is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. Irv and I always welcome your phone calls. If you want to join the conversation, you can feel free to give us a call right here in the studio at 347-857-3958. Again, that number here to the studio is 347-857-3958. Irv.
Yes, sir.
And I am sitting here saying studio, and we're not really in our studio today. We're doing a live remote.
That's right. We're doing a live remote. And guess what? We're actually at the offices of Houston Business Development, Inc.
Okay.
And we're doing that today, John, because the city of Houston, the United States Department of Transportation, and a long list of folks in and around the city have come together to implement the U.S. Department of Transportation's bonding education program for small construction contractors.
Okay.
And that's going on here in Houston, and that is a joint effort. And we're really excited to be here. And I want to put a special thanks out to the good folks at Houston Business Development. My good friend Marlon Mitchell, who I've known many, many years, who is the president and chief executive officer of Houston Business Development. So he's accommodated us today, John. And right next door to us, folks, the city of Houston is celebrating the first graduating class from the bonding education program.
Now, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and the fact that this is the first class that they're graduating.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about the program. Why did they decide to do this? And I know we may cover this with the guest here within the hour, but let's go ahead and warm the people up a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Bonding is a big deal for small businesses. And the reason why it's such a big deal is because bonding is a very difficult thing to get generally for small businesses.
Right.
And so they've decided to do this, and this is actually funded. Funds are provided from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and the U.S. Department of Transportation is broken down into different regions. Mm-hmm. And so the Gulf region, which is the region we're a part of here in Texas, is sponsoring this kind of education program, this training, to better position small businesses to get bondable. Mm-hmm. And so that means that there's technical assistance involved. That means that there's training. And let me tell you what, this thing is intense. I mean, these guys have been in training for 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what have they been learning for 6 weeks?
Well, they've been learning about handling their company's financials.
Okay.
They've been learning about documentation of their performance, keeping their references, reducing risk for bonding companies. And what's cool about this, John, is they've actually been introduced to people in and around the bonding industry. So bonding agents who've had a chance to meet with them one-on-one. And so this is an opportunity where a lot of small businesses, many of them, if they're in construction, they have a tough time even knowing where to start.
And that's one of the things I did want to cover. There are tons of small business people out there who know everything about bonding, or let's say they know what bonding is and why they need it.
Right.
But let's talk to those individuals who don't really understand to whom bonding is important and what role does bonding play in your business.
Gotcha. First of all, the people who need bonding the most are people who are contractors, people who are in the construction industry. And then when I say construction industry, folks, I know that's a real broad term, but that means whether you're a painter, whether you're a plumber, an electrician, whether you're doing steel erection, whatever it is you're doing, if you're going to work in the government space or in many times even in the private sector, to get that kind of work would require you to be bonded. And when I say bonding, let me be specific. There's all kinds of bonds out there, John. Specifically, I'm talking about performance bonds.
Okay.
Where what a bond is, for those of you who may have heard the term but not had a specific definition, a bond, a performance bond, folks, is a guarantee that is issued to the project owner, whoever is owning the building or the property that's being built, to protect them from any risk in the event that the contractor is unable or unwilling to continue to perform.
Now, in your business, I know that you've dealt with all sorts of corporations that have needed bonding.
Sure.
When would someone have to file a claim against a contractor's bond?
Excellent question. Usually when there has been some issue on the job, perhaps they've started the job, and now there's been some work stoppage. Perhaps now there's been some natural disaster. Something happens in the middle of the job. Maybe an accident. Maybe people don't even show up to start the job,
okay,
which is even worse. So there's a long list of things that might cause a project owner to want to go after the contractor's bond.
Okay.
But here's the simple way to look at it. Anything that's keeping that contractor from performing, that is putting that bond at risk.
So then the company or the insurance company behind writing that bond has to make certain that they manage that risk or mitigate that risk.
That's right.
Now, and I've never had to do a bond.
Sure.
So let me establish that first and foremost.
Okay.
But give me an indication of what a bond would look like. Let's say that a construction company who does sidewalks for the city of Houston.
Sure.
They need to have a bond, and let's say that bond is $500,000.
Yeah. Let's say they're going to put a sidewalk all the way around the park.
Okay.
All right. And let's say that project is going to cost $500,000 to do.
Okay.
All right. Well, the bond is set up with and played with the contractor's insurance company, and then that bond is issued to the city of Houston. In this case. Okay. So the bond gets issued to the city of Houston. The city of Houston then holds that bond in lieu of cash or something else like that. They don't really want cash. They want the bond. Because if something goes wrong with that project, then the city of Houston, because they're using taxpayer money, they have to be able to replace any money that might be lost as a result of the project not going through.
And so if that contractor, for whatever reason, does not perform, does not complete the job,
correct,
then the remedy would be the city of Houston could go and call the insurance company and say, hey, we need to file a claim against this bond.
And they do, and they file a claim against the bond. The insurance company then has to pay the city of Houston. Now, because the project has to, the bond replaces the money that might have been lost as a result of having to go and start all over
again.
A
new contractor.
Find a new contractor, got to start all over again.
Any soft costs that you may absorb
any
as the city
soft costs. And generally that means that because there's a bidding process, and a lot of people don't get into this, but the contractor is probably the person who's the low bidder. And depending on what the gap is between the low bidder and the next highest bidder, now the price of the project can go up as well.
Right.
So that's why that bond is there.
Now, we have had Tony Henshaw, who runs the Public Works Department for the city of Houston, on the show. And one of the things that Tony said the last time we had him on the air is that there's so many small business people who are really unaware of not only what it takes or what they must provide in order to get a bond, but they don't know that they can get a bond.
That's right.
So a lot of them don't go out and try for it. And let's talk about some of those things. What does a company have to have?
Well, first and foremost, a company must have good credit. Bonding is still a credit-driven product. And so if a company doesn't have good credit, if the owners don't have good credit, already you've got to stop.
Now, and I was just about to differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
Let's say that the company has excellent credit.
Right.
But your principals.
The principals.
Not so much.
Not so much, and that will not work.
Really?
The principals still have to have good credit.
So what do you do in lieu of having good credit? If you have the ability to perform on some of these city contracts or these municipal contracts, and you're not able to you're not able to be bonded.
Right. Now, in that case, that's part of why the bonding education, now you just hit on the core, the crux of why the bonding education program is so critical and why such a huge investment and effort has been put forward to educate small businesses about bonding. This simply means this, that if you're unable, credit-wise, to qualify for capital, you're probably unable to get a bond as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So the net of it is, how many companies, like you said, don't know that they should even try for a bond. And then if you're unable credit-wise to qualify, now it's really important that you go through and find out from the bonding company what got your application declined, because you can start fishing around for different reasons and still not fix the problem.
Well, I imagine if you are in the performance business, which that's absurd, most of us are, but if you're a contractor of sorts, then it's really important then that you start working on your credit and start doing those things now in your business.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it limits your ability to get those larger contracts. Because I would think even in the private sector, some of those guys want you to still be bonded.
Trust me, if you're in the private sector and you're doing any corporate work directly, you're going to still need to be bonded.
Especially if I'm building a $75 million high-rise and I'm going to let you come in and do all the drywall or something like that.
That's exactly
I want to have something that I can attack in the event that you don't do what you're supposed to do.
That is exactly right.
All right. We're going to go to break, guys. We are doing a live remote today with the U.S. Department of Transportation. We're at the Bonding Education Program. They are graduating their first class today. We're going to try to snag a few people out in the hallway to bring a few guests on the show, so stay with us. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, which is brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. It's the one magazine right here in Houston that is for and about Houston's entrepreneurs. If you'd like to get a free copy emailed to you each and every month, go to our website, smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com. Put in your information. We'd be glad to send you one. Stick around. We'll be back in a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan,
Storm coming.
the legend ends in IMAX. What are you? Cousins Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. If you're watching us on Ustream.tv, you can see that we've sort of angled the camera out because we have a guest here in the studio. Irv and I are doing a live remote today. We're at Houston Business Development's office where the U.S. Department of Transportation is hosting a bonding education program whereby they're graduating their inaugural class.
That's right.
Who's the esteemed gentleman that's sitting to our left?
Well, this is Mr. Tony Arps, and he is a good friend of mine. He is the project coordinator. Did I say that right?
Director.
Project director, sorry. Project director for the Gulf region of the U.S. Department of Transportation, and this is the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. That's a long acronym. So, Tony, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. Again, I'm Tony Arps, and I'm the project director for the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. And like everyone else, we have an acronym, SBTRC. We are a field office of the United States Department of Transportation. We cover 4 states. We cover Texas. We cover Oklahoma. We cover Louisiana. And we cover Arkansas. What we do is we'll assist small, disadvantaged businesses with securing contracting opportunities with Department of Transportation projects. It's not closed just to only companies that are wanting to do business with the federal government, but we also have companies that are doing business with the county. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to build capacity. We have a number of different programs, but the two we're doing right now currently is a short-term lending program. But I want to talk to you today about the program here today to talk to you about is the bonding education program. Now, we call it bonding education, but I think it's capacity building because bonding is about capacity building.
Absolutely. It is.
And what we do is it separates our program from a lot of other programs. A lot of companies have a program where you meet 6 nights a week for 6 weeks and you go over some things about business. But what we decided to do with the Surety and Fidelity Association of America, we wanted a program with a little more substance.
Sure.
And so our program has 3 components. The first component, which we're concluding tonight, is the workshop component. That's where we're going over different things that contractors face, different subjects matter about business. That goes next into resource providing. These companies, we've identified what areas it needs assistance in.
Sure.
So we put them with resource providers to shore up any deficiency they have.
Gotcha.
But one of the key things is throughout this program, throughout these workshops, we introduce contractors to surety professionals. And what we find is many times contractors, small disadvantaged contractors, when looking for bonding, they look in all the wrong places. Okay. In fact, our group here, we found that probably over half our contractors were getting bonding starting with their insurance agent.
Wow.
So that's not a good place to start. I mean,
that's not the place
for
to
someone
start.
who doesn't know very much about bonding, I would think that, the first place I'm going to call is the same guy who's insured my home, my automobile, my boat, and ask him about getting a bond.
And that's usually how it happens. However, when it comes to bonding, it's about capacity building. And basically, if you're talking to your insurance agent, basically what he's going to do is he's going to turn you over to someone else. You're not working directly with him. Also, that surety provider has a lot of input in assisting you with getting that bond.
Okay.
And when that surety provider is speaking to you one-on-one and you're in their face or you're sitting right across the desk from them, they'll go fight for you. But if you're giving your application to a third party looking for bonding, the underwriter, he's looking at it and the surety professional don't even know you.
Right.
So that's the first place you want to go. You want to get a surety professional. Now, having said that, I'm not sure some people have gotten bonding by going through their local insurance agency, but you need a surety professional.
Okay.
Because that surety professional, I'm going to keep saying that, the surety professional has a lot of impact on you getting bonding. It's no different than if you went in a bank and you gave your application to a receptionist
Instead of talking to the loan officer.
I don't nothing meant as far as insurance agent, but that person would take it, give it to the loan officer, but that loan officer hadn't seen you and
That's
anything.
right.
So that's what separates. It's a 3-part. It's the workshops, it's the resources. For 12 months, we follow up with all our contractors, and it's that one-on-one with surety producers, because many contractors never met a surety producer.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to ask you a question, Tony. Now, you mentioned a couple of different parties in the surety process as surety professionals. There are agents, there are underwriters, there are brokers. Who should be the first point of contact for a small business that's looking for bonding?
First point of contact is a surety producer.
A surety producer.
Surety producer.
Now, what separates a producer from an agent, or are they one and the same?
No. The surety producer, he understands the industry.
I got you.
He understands. He'll carry that application to the bonding company that's going to underwrite you.
I see.
He knows the questions to ask, and sometimes when an application is submitted, the underwriter may have some questions, or that producer knows exactly what to get. It's like packaging a loan.
Right.
Sure.
That surety producer knows exactly what that underwriter needs.
Exactly.
Whereas when you're talking to someone that's just maybe an insurance agent, they may have a bonding request every 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
But you want someone who knows what type of paperwork and what the underwriter wants to look at.
And now this program puts small businesses directly in front of those kinds of people.
Directly in front of surety producers.
Now, so this is a joint effort then. This is the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Surety
And Fidelity Association of America.
Surety and Fidelity Association of America.
And then when we go to different markets, because we cover 4 states, we get a stakeholder. And in Houston, the city of Houston's
right
mayor's office of business opportunity,
right,
with Ms. Galicia Wright and Roger Harris, they are our lead stakeholders, and they played a significant part in pulling this off or in setting this up. So every market we go into, because our office is in Dallas, we get someone locally to assist us in doing these workshops.
Now, one of the things too, John, is I had the opportunity to be one of the stakeholders in this effort, and so when we first started this off, one of the segments, it's just one of the segments of the workshop, talks about banking and finance.
Certainly.
And the way the program works is there's actually some required content in the training that must be conveyed, even though, there's flexibility, certainly, but there are certain bullet points that absolutely must be conveyed to the contractors. And so I've had an opportunity to actually work in my company in the program directly, and I think this is my second go around. So I really, really enjoyed it, and we're going to continue to do that.
And the thing, Irvin brought up a good point. We put industry professionals in front of the contractors.
Right.
Many times there are a lot of programs where they have people who just maybe are not. We try to put business people who are actually out there doing the work in front of the contractors, so they can see someone that actually does that work. So we're very we make certain that we put in front of them people like Irvin Hughes, who has years of experience in banking and understand how all that works.
Right.
As opposed to getting someone that maybe a financial management or someone who teaches accounting at a college. We get someone out there actually talking to the contractors, knowing exactly what they do. And they wonder, Irv will tell you, they'll ask us sometimes, well, how do you know all that? Because we did it ourselves.
That's right. We've been through this.
And I like to tell contractors, when I see you, I see myself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I like to tell them.
Very good.
Now, Tony, answer this for me. Now, how many people are involved in this particular class?
We have 30 contractors in the Houston Bonding Education Program.
Wow, is that large? Is that a large class, or is that normal?
That's a large class.
Okay,
I would say it's a large class.
Now, and this program was held over how many weeks?
8 weeks, which is the workshop component. Actually, we'll follow up with all the contractors for another year.
Wow.
So we're just getting started. That's just the one component.
And this is the inaugural class, is that correct?
This is the first time the DOT has offered this program in Houston.
Okay.
But the program started as a pilot program, in 2010 in Dallas, and Irving was one of our contractors and one of our business development people who assisted us in that first pilot program in Dallas.
Now, for those individuals who are watching this show that run their businesses here in Houston locally, do they have the ability to come in and perhaps take advantage of this type of training again sometime in the future?
Well, what we're hoping, and I'm not speaking for the mayor's office of business opportunity, but there are going to be some subsequent programs dealing with bonding. So many of the resource providers here have a database of contractors that they'll be sending information out to, and I'm looking at probably doing something next year.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Now you're talking about a disadvantaged business. I heard you say that a couple times. What exactly is a disadvantaged business?
Companies that have historically been left out of the contracting process. Companies who maybe they were not. They weren't brought up with business people. I mean, when they weren't at the dinner table talking to their dad who owned a company.
Right.
You know, so we have to assist them in making up for the terminology and the things like that. So they start, as well as there are some barriers. There's some barriers that are being knocked, but disadvantage is understanding how the contracting process works.
Well, and I think that's a good point to bring up, because this is dealing more with a socioeconomic state in terms of the size of your company, and not necessarily your race or your gender or anything like that. Correct?
It's size, but it's also, we understand that historically, race has played a factor.
Okay.
So in addition to that, there's some ethnicity involved with as far as that disadvantage.
Okay. Well, Tony, we really appreciate you, coming in and talking to us. I know you guys are getting busy over there, so I'm glad Irvin was able to snag you.
Great. Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, absolutely. And again, thanks so much for being on the show, Tony. And I'm looking forward to our working together going forward, because it's really been a successful program here in Houston. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by Ring Central. To get Ring Central's virtual PBX for your business, you can give them a call today at 888-716-5022. More in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
we've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
So how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash. I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is?
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it. by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's Coffee News.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan.
The storm's coming.
The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? Costumes reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. We are doing a live remote. We're at the Houston Business Development's office, but the event that they're having tonight, Irv, is the Department of Transportation.
Yeah, it's the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's Houston Business Development. It's the City of Houston. It's a whole long list of stakeholders who have come together to provide bonding education and all participating in the bonding education program here in Houston. And so it's a lot of excitement going on right next door to us. Lots of food and fun and a real celebration of graduating, the very first graduating class from the bonding education program. And guess what? We were able to snag yet another great guest.
Absolutely.
For the show today, a good friend of mine, Mr. Marlon Mitchell, from many, many years ago. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Houston Business Development, Inc. And so I want to say, first of all, thank you for lending us a place to have the show here at your facility, Marlon, and thanks for participating in the bonding education program, and welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Glad to be here and wouldn't want to have this show anywhere else.
That's awesome.
Now, Marlon, if you will, tell us a little bit about the role that Houston Business Development is playing in this concerted effort, if you will, to educate people on bonding.
Well, we're one of several stakeholders, and our role is to bring information and knowledge to small businesses to help increase their business acumen so that they can grow and expand. Houston Business Development, Inc., that's our role. What we do is revitalize communities and grow small businesses through the various services that we provide. So we're just happy to be a part of the program, one of the several stakeholders, and to be able to participate.
Now, when you talk about programs that Houston Business Development Inc. provides, let's talk a little bit about that. What exactly, if I've never heard of your company before, as a small business owner, how can you serve me, or what can you do to assist me in becoming great?
Two things. I mean, all businesses essential to their growth and expansion would be capital.
That's right. Everybody needs capital.
They've got to have access to capital. So we can make loans anywhere from as small as $5,000 up to as much as $5 million in Houston and the 13 surrounding counties. Secondarily, what we do is provide management technical assistance through resource partners. The workshop that's going on, the graduation ceremony that's going on, is in our training facility in our Business and Technology Center, where we lease space, affordable space, to small businesses and provide them with an array of resources to help them grow. Access to a business information center with computers, with a video lab, with entrepreneur startup guides. One-on-one counseling is provided through SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. So quite a few resources to help people to get up to speed, or if they're trying to start a business, it may be an aspiring entrepreneur who doesn't know what direction to go. So they can come to Houston Business Development, Inc., and we can give them the tools that they need to get started.
Man, and as a young entrepreneur, I know what it's like when you're just starting out, and you and I talk about it all the time.
All the time.
If my business is making shoes, I'm proficient at making shoes, but not so much so in running a business that produces those shoes.
Well, that's exactly right. And one of the things I want to say too is I've had the opportunity of working with Marlon and his organization for a long, long time, and one of the things that we've worked together on in the past is putting together strategies, programs where people can get access to capital. In my company, one of my companies, we're a technical assistance provider, and that simply means consultant in English. And so that means that we would pre-qualify, package, and place loans, for small businesses. And we would generally work in the microloan space because a lot of small businesses trying to get started, they're just not going to go into a bank and qualify for $400,000 or $1 million or $5 million. And so that's kind of our history with Marlon's organization. Let me just say this, because I'm going to take a minute and blow his horn a little bit here. This guy has
Go ahead.
This guy has continued to grow and expand and change this particular company to better serve the small business community in and around the Houston area, and he's been doing it for many years successfully. And I'm just happy to know that you're still here, man.
Yeah.
And you're still doing what you do. And can you talk a little bit about now what you've grown into now?
Sure.
From where you were?
Yeah, when we started, we were sort of what's called a subrecipient of the city of Houston, a component unit of the city, operating under the auspices of the Housing and Community Development Department. That was back in 1987, which was the year that we first started.
Sure.
We made loans back then up to about $100,000, and that was it.
Okay.
Since then, we've got about 5 different products that we offer, again, ranging from small loans, micro loans,
right,
small business loans, SBA 504 loans. Right. We are a CDFI, or a Community Development Financial Institution. We're no longer under the auspices of the city, but we have a strong working relationship with them. Even though we're no longer a component unit, we continue to work with the city to develop neighborhood revitalization strategies, and we partner with them in that effort. We are what's called a community-based development organization, meaning that we target communities that have been underserved and try to bring resources in those communities to help the businesses to grow. Oftentimes you'll hear in this downturn economy, well, what comes first? Does the housing come first, or do the jobs come first? Do the rooftops come first, or do the jobs come first?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we believe that if you don't have a job, you can't buy the rooftop.
That's right.
So what we try to do is help businesses to grow and expand through all of the services that we provide. And so now we've grown from an organization that had a maximum loan of $100,000 now up to $5 million throughout the state of Texas with our SBA 504 program. We've just recently applied for the Houston New Markets tax credits.
Absolutely.
In conjunction with the city, which would be about $100 million if we're successful. So you guys pray for us.
That's right. That's right.
If
We're
we
going
get
to absolutely
that money
do
will
that.
come to Houston. It will be the first time in 9 years that a CDE, a Community Development Enterprise, has received funding for the city of Houston.
That is awesome, Marlon.
And so our one last thing, our organization has helped hundreds of businesses, and we've funded probably $43 million in loans to small businesses, and leveraged that with an additional $46 million from private sector lenders, and we've created well over 3,000 jobs for small businesses. For residents of the city of Houston. And that's what our mission is. So our role, again, is to revitalize communities and grow businesses. And because of the support of the city of Houston and others, we've been able to expand the operation and meet the needs of many people within the community.
Now, for small business people who don't understand what the major difference is between, say, going into a large A-rated bank and coming to Houston Business Development, Inc., what would you say the major differences in the underwriting processes that go on for financing?
The primary difference is that the large banks are going to be regulated by the Office of Comptroller of Currency or Federal Reserve and the FDIC. So they have regulators that they have to comply with. Mm-hmm. We're not regulated. We're a non-bank lending institution. So that gives us the ability to be more flexible. We can be a bit more flexible in terms of how we underwrite. So if you go to a bank and the bank says that, well, we need to see a credit score of at least 680, and if you don't have that, I'm sorry, we'd love to help you, but we can't.
Right.
With
You're out the door at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're gone. But with us, if you come in and you have a credit score of 550, we're not going to turn you away. We're going to ask, what caused that 550? We're going to get into the detail of the credit report and find out what caused the blemishes. And if we can get comfortable with it, we'll still work with you, because the most important factor for us is character. Now, we're no different than a bank. We look at the same characteristics that a bank would look at. You're
mitigating risk.
Yeah. Exactly. So we look at the same, the 5 C's of credit.
Absolutely.
Right. Cash flow, collateral, capital, the character of an individual, and the conditions under which the loan will be made. And so, but when a bank looks at that, they have, again, hard and fast rules. They have ratios that they have to look at. If you don't meet those ratios, you can't get the loan. With us, we have the same ratios, but we're more flexible. And then also our interest rates are typically going to be a lot lower. Our rates are fixed in today's market. Our rates can range anywhere from 4.2% up to a maximum of about 6.5%.
Wow.
And that's fixed over the life of the loan. For real estate, we can make loans up to 25 years. For equipment, we can make it up to 7 years. For working capital, we can provide you with a line of credit. For those who are just getting started, you've got a year of operation. You don't have all the necessary documentation that a bank would need. Come to us and we can help you with that. We work with startup businesses as well.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, Marlon, tell people how to get in touch with your organization. Should they hear or see the video or hear this show? Because we broadcast literally nationally because we're online. So please give us some contact information.
We're located at 5330 Griggs Road in Houston, Texas at zip code 77021. Our website is www.hbdi for HoustonBusinessDevelopment.org, or you can call us at 713-845-2400.
Awesome.
Now, I'm going to tell you this. I just got warm and fuzzy listening to Marlon talk, man. I mean, I come from the era of doing loans before there ever were a such thing as credit scores.
Right.
And what we called underwriting back then was common sense underwriting.
Sure.
We could understand that you may have gone through something, but if you could document what you went through, and if you had good credit before that and you had good credit after that incident, we could sort of make sense of a situation. It seems as though once they brought credit scoring in, there are a lot of the larger institutions, common sense underwriting just went out the door.
Oh, yeah. It started to be underwriting with a computer and the ratio.
That's right.
Exactly.
And,
That's right.
And the thing is, folks, a lot of people don't know this, but there are community development financial institutions, or CDFIs. Go look them up, go online, search them out, find the one that's in your area. We're here in Houston, of course, with one of the biggest and best CDFIs, and there are a few around the country, but there are great lending alternatives when you're just not quite bankable. Boy, this is a great source for accessing capital and credit, no doubt.
I would have to say so. Marlon, we really appreciate you coming in and talking to us. We're going to have you come back and make an entire show out of this, because I could ask you 100 different questions.
Yeah, we're going to give you the hour, man.
do it.
Yeah,
Thank you
all right, I'm going to hold you to it, man.
All right.
All right, good stuff, Marlon. Thank you so much for being on the show. Folks, that's Marlon Mitchell with Houston Business Development, Inc., and you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by GrowSocial.com. Maximize social media like Facebook and Twitter for your business. You can call Grow Social today at 877-484-3961. The education continues in a moment. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more guests here at Houston Business Development.
Turn up the sales on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy? energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cuny is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancuny.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is?
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
For Nolan, the legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. We're doing a live remote today. We're at the offices of Houston Business Development, Inc. We just had Marlon Mitchell, who's the president of the organization, on the air with us. The U.S. Department of Transportation and a litany of other folks are coming together to do what's called a bonding education program. They have about 30 students that are participating in this first inaugural group here in Houston. And we've snagged someone who only has a couple minutes to spend with us. We have Mr. Tony Henshaw, who is with the Public Works and Engineering Department for the City of Houston. And Tony, it's always a pleasure. How are you today, sir?
Thank you for having me.
Well, Tony, I told John we absolutely cannot let you out of the building until we get you on the show with us to talk about what you guys do at Public Works and what you do with small business to help them grow.
Well, thank you. The reason we sponsored, one of the sponsors of this program, was the need that we identified in Public Works that we need to grow small minority business, and to grow them, they need bonding. They need to be bonded.
Yeah.
Our state law requires that all public construction, all the contractors must be bonded. So we had to reach out and find a way. How do we increase capacity? So you can have the financing, but if you can't get bonding, which is like insurance, then you can't do construction work in the state of Texas. So apart from providing opportunity for minorities to get hooked up into Public Works on those construction jobs, purchasing, supply work that we have, service contracts, IT, professional services, one of the biggest area that we spend money and is going to improve and explode in the next few months is Rebuild Houston. We've been talking about Rebuild Houston. This is a close to $20 billion rebuild of the infrastructure, from stormwater, streets, and drainage in the city of Houston. And this is a chance for us to start to prepare. If you're a business owner, if you're in construction, if you can provide engineering services, this is a time to get into the play and prepare yourself for those numbers when they start hitting the streets.
Now, Tony, I gotta back up and revisit something you said. You did say $20 billion with a B.
With a B.
Okay. Now, how does somebody get connected with Public Works? So what do they do? Do they become vendors first? Do they get certified? Both? What do they do?
The first thing you have to do is get certification to become certified as a minority or as a small business. And when you get into the Office of Business Opportunity, go to the website, go to the city website, www.houstontx.gov, navigate to the Office of Business Opportunity. That's the certification agency. After certification, we can then in Public Works get a hold of your certification. We can then invite you to a pre-bid. We can then sit down with you and do a business plan and allow you a chance to see all those opportunities that we have in Public Works.
Wow. Now, let me ask you, so when you say Public Works, that encompasses a lot of different things.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you said that, because typically when we say Public Works, people think construction.
Right.
But
right.
but we're the largest department in the city of Houston, and we just don't use tax dollars, and that's critical that people hear that. So when you hear there's a challenge in the city of Houston with taxes, that doesn't really affect public works because public works, we're the one that sells you your drinking water.
I got you.
So we bill you for your drinking water, we process your wastewater, we control your traffic signals, we fix your streets, we fix your roads, we bill your drainage, and you get your occupancy permit from us when you build a house. So you can see how much public works really affects your life.
Absolutely. It makes money as well as dealing with the taxes as
That's
well.
correct. And almost 80%, it's the last number I heard, of all we do in public works is outsourced.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
80%
of all we do in public works is outsourced. So close to $2 billion a year in contracting opportunities in public works. So all of those, you do the math, 80% of that is all outsourced.
Now, let me ask you this, Tony. I know that Houston has an initiative called Hire Houston First, and they're doing everything that they can, or the mayor is. She's doing everything that she can to make certain that Houston businesses get first crack at the business that is produced in this city. But what if someone has a construction business and they're outside the footprint of the city of Houston, or even outside the state, and they want to participate on that $20 billion that's going to be spent to revitalize the city? Can that company participate?
Well, they can. They can, but the challenge would be you have to beat a city. Well, we pay the taxes here locally, and then the Rebuild Houston funds that I've talked about is the increase in the. Well, I don't want to call tax. So I'm
we'll correct that. We'll edit that out.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. But the Rebuild Houston funds are funds that are generated locally.
Okay.
So we have to show preference for the local contractors, local business owners.
Okay.
But that doesn't preclude that if you're outside of the city limits, you can come into city. What we've seen lately has been more businesses moving into Houston, opening offices in Houston. And to take part in the, and I mean the news is out, if you're in construction or engineering services, or even a supplier. To build those items, we need to have someone supply the steel. We need to have someone supply concrete. We need to have somebody supply the materials that we'll need. So there's great opportunity. And even though we have Hire Houston First, there are a few restrictions that said, well, I believe it's 5% over the bid. If the local firm is 5% or 3%, depending on the type of procurement, that the local firm will get it. But if the local firm is above those threshold, then whatever firm outside of the city limit,
they can still participate.
Right. And then we say city limit. There are two designations. Either you have what we call city business, which are those businesses in the city of Houston proper, or your local business, which is the surrounding 8 counties.
Gotcha.
That can participate. So we have designation for you to be a city business or local business. So it doesn't have to be necessarily that you have to be a city Houston address. You could be a local business, and you also will get a preference.
Now, Tony, I got to go back and touch on one thing you mentioned, and that was construction materials. If you're just supplying materials, there are opportunities, even if you're not necessarily in the construction business, you're not in the service business, but perhaps you supply materials like steel or lumber or rebar or paint or what have you. Are there opportunities for just people who supply construction materials?
Yes. I saw a report earlier in the week. Late last week. One of our major chemical transporting company, well, the only minority-owned chemical transportation company, just went out of business.
Oh, wow.
So now I have a need to try to find a new minority transportation company. We went out this week, and we found a company that's trying to get on board, get a certification to come on board as a minority-owned firm. That's $100 million a year business, and we typically will want to see up to 20% minority participation. Now we have 0.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question, is that there's a percentage or a goal of participation that needs to go. Some of this spend needs to go to minority or disadvantaged businesses.
But it can only go if you're registered in a database that you can provide those services.
Right.
So I think that's something your listeners need to understand, that the general people assume that, they already have enough vendors, they already have enough people doing business. But the truth is we don't. We do not. We're actually out there. We do outreach. We spend a lot of resources in doing outreach so we can attract more minority vendors into the system and show them. And you're not alone. When you come in, we will help you navigate the system. We will show you what to do, where to go. We'll help you with the paperwork. So it's not a business, it's not an opportunity where you come in and you're on your own. We would help you navigate the system.
That's right. Or you can, hey, come on Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. And
we'll help you find those people.
We'll help you find those people. Well, Tony, thank you so much for joining us here on this particular segment of the show. We're really, really happy to have you. And let me tell you what, folks, Tony Henshaw is a great friend of Small Business Today and Cruz and Hughes, and we're a big fan of his and all the work that he does here in the city of Houston at the Public Works Department. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by the Lexington Law Firm. Listen, when you need credit help, get a free consultation today by calling 888-744-7081. More in a moment, right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash. I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light? It's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Irv and I are doing a live remote today. We're at the offices of Houston Business Development, Inc., and they are partnering with the City of Houston, the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Surety Bond.
The Surety Association of America.
Yeah, it's a huge push in order to help small, minority-owned, and disadvantaged businesses get more information and education on what it takes to be bonded. As you just heard, Tony Henshaw, who is with the Public Works Department of the City of Houston, they are making a huge push in order to get these people bonded so that they can participate on the contracts that are coming down the pipe.
That's exactly right. And you know what? I've had, John, the opportunity to participate in this program. And let me tell you what, really, why I'm so high on this program is because the end game is to have a company being able to get bonded.
Yeah.
Okay. But the keys to getting bonded means that you're running a good business. It's not just that you got great credit. It's not even that you just got great financials. It's that you're running a good business. Just as much as the financials are important and credit is important, the third piece of that is making sure that you are performing and that your company is performing in its core capability. If you say you hang drywall, if you say you're a painter, if you say you sell steel, then guess what? We've got to find you guilty of doing that and doing that well.
Yeah, and you know, and that's what it comes down to in order to get a bond. It's performance.
Absolutely.
And as you relate it to credit and how important that is. I think small business people really need to be mindful of their credit, especially if you're going to participate in the construction industry.
Absolutely, because construction industry is considered the riskiest, most profitable industry you can be in.
Well, we've had a great show today. I've enjoyed this, Urban. I'm glad you twisted my arm and made me come on out. I think this went very well.
Well, thank you, John. I'm glad you could join me here.
Guys, we want to thank you for tuning in to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. I'm John Cruz.
I'm Irv Hughes.
And this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. Be sure to check us out on tomorrow. And until then, do 3 things for us. Be smart, be successful,
and above all else, be in action.
Irvin, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.